Okay, so let's go over some introductory vocabulary. Now, let me make it bigger for you guys. So I apologize. Oh, it's not working. So I will say that these words right here, the first ones are the only ones that I'm not writing or typing at the same time in this whole video. But I am going over all of them. So with this video assignment here, what I'm trying to do is basically give you all the vocab words right now that we're going to need for our first unit. And our first unit has the most vocab words. The reason why is we use these vocab words throughout the whole entire course, all right? So I give them to you early so we can just start getting on with math after this. So after everyone watches the videos, what's going to happen is we'll come into class and I'll teach you how to solve, for example, later on you see midpoint. So I'll teach you how to solve a problem if you see the word midpoint, all right? By getting these definitions out of the way, letting you guys do some practice with the definitions today at home allows us to just focus on the math more later on. So these are your basic definitions that we are using. Now these definitions we're going over just to really, so when you see a word written, you know what it looks like. So the first one, there's a point. A point definitions an exact location in space with an indefinite shape and size. So a point, this is probably better down here. You see A, that's a point. This X is just a massive point. How do you name it? You say point X or just X. Next definition is a line. That's an object with no thickness that extends indefinitely in two directions. So your lines need arrows on them. Now, see, there are 2 points on this line, A, B. There's also a little M here, because there are 3 ways to name this. I can call it line M. I can call it AB with this arrow over it. That means line AB, or line BA. BA and AB is the same. It does not matter which way this line goes, as long as you have a name like this. Next one's a segment. The difference between that line and a segment, if you notice in my picture, is I have no arrows. So a segment's part of a line consisting of 2 endpoints and all the points in between. Basically, a segment you can actually get the length of, or a line you can't. Now, to name it, a segment, A, B, or BA, it's the same thing as a line except there's no arrows above it. Next one's a ray. That is part of a line consisting of 1 endpoint and extending indefinitely in one direction. So my ray, one of the sides isn't going to have an arrow while the other does. When naming a ray, you have to be careful because the arrow has to follow your picture. So you see how B has the arrow extending from it? That means in my labeling, B has to have the arrow as well.
Good morning, everyone. Can I have your attention quickly? As you all recall, 19 years ago today was a tragic day in the United States. We lost nearly 3,000 members of our country that day, and hundreds of thousands of other people were impacted on September 11, 2001. At this time, in remembrance, we'll be conducting a moment of silence. Thank you for your time and attention, and have a wonderful day.
All right, next one's an angle. That's a figure consisting of 2 non-collinear rays with a common endpoint. So what does that mean? That basically means that A, B's a ray, and C, B's a ray, but what they do is they make this angle here. Now, in naming an angle, okay, something we're going to do all year long, name angles. Angle ABC or angle CBA. Notice, with these, B's in the middle. Your vertex, which is this point right here that turns between these two, has to always be in the middle when naming. Okay? If there's a little number there that's not a degree sign, it can also be called that angle 1. Last thing is a plane. That's a flat surface that consists infinitely in all directions. So it's a big flat space. It's like, think of a plane as like the floor. That's a plane. All right, it's just a big long space. You can call it plane ABC because A, B, C are in there, or plane K. The little K is at the bottom of the corner. We got collinear. That's lying in the same straight line. So basically think of a line. Everything on that line is collinear. Coplanar, lying in the same plane. That's the same thing. Think of a plane, everything in there, that's coplanar. All right, so the rest of the videos are kind of clipped together with definitions. And then you guys are going to practice those definitions. And then after everyone watches this video, our next class, we're going to move through and start doing some geometry.